What's up, Dr. Dre? Free Suge Knight.
NK music on the track. NK music on the track.
In the flesh, return. Come from Atlantis through the Imhotep step. Initiated as a god, earn my stripes in respect. It's the return of the gods. This world is a facade. Life is a dream. The American mirage. Indiana Jones in the raid of the lost ark. Whoa, for our ancient arts. Watch the movie They Live. Roddy Piper. Blade is a classic. Do you believe vampires? I am the original Willy Wonka. Welcome to my knowledge factory. Only God and goddesses allowed on my faculty. If you try to challenge me, Mortal Kombat fatality. I am the royal bloodline of the Anunnaki. Ladies say I'm handsome, they give me sloppy toppy. Good vibrations, turn up your frequency. Mario Brothers, eat a magic mushroom with me. Good vibrations, turn up your frequency. Mario Brothers, eat a magic mushroom with me. I'm surfing on the tidal wave, I'm swimming with the dolphins. I'm out of my sarcophagus, some release me from my coffin. Thief from the police, overthrow the government. Eat a magic mushroom, that's the secret to the mothership. Yeah, that channel.
All aboard! It is time to hop aboard my spaceship, because you are now tuned into what is the Matrix TV. I'm your host, Jason Elm Street Williams, master of the universe. And today we're getting into it. All the kids are being kidnapped by ice cream trucks. The killer clowns from outer space. Human meat in the fast food linked to extraterrestrial involvement with the CIA, the Vatican Church, the God of the Bible asking for blood sacrifice, meat sacrifice. Could these followers of this ancient God still be practicing their culture underneath the cities of America? But first, I have to introduce my special guest host, a brother raining and rolling in all the way from Los Angeles. God, the great Jesus.
Peace, family. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, God. I can hear you.
It was cracking up a little bit on this end, but yeah, pieces of divine family. Yeah, let's get into this one, man. This here right home. I'm right here in LA where this is going down at. So this is home for sure.
So right here, ladies and gentlemen, we see that over 460,000 children, so let's say 500,000 children go missing in America. And if you guys remember, in the 1990s, 1980s, they used to have milk cartons of all the missing children. But what happened to that? It was a serious thing. And so out here in the Inland Empire, there's a case going on of a missing child. Coincidentally, the house next door to the missing child just burnt out. It just burnt down. So once again, could this be linked up to the global network of human trafficking children, linked up from the Inland Empire to Los Angeles to New York to Epstein Island? Because slowly but surely you're hearing more about kidnapping cases coming more to the forefront and things of that nature. So basically, we wanted to start off the show talking about what's going on with these ice cream trucks that are popping up all over America. Right now in America, if you guys type it in on your Google, parents are reporting town to town over 50 kids going missing in towns throughout America, and now they're filming these ice cream trucks that are going around neighborhoods at nighttime, not just in the day. And we always know that as kids, they always make fun of clowns and ice cream trucks and kidnapping. So once again, and when we go to this picture of Ronald McDonald, and we hear stories of human meat being put into the clown's meat, like Wendy's, Ronald McDonald, and then we link it to these movies like Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Now we can start linking that these abductions that we learn about aren't just people being human trafficked; they're being human trafficked for their organs. And it's not that there's other humans just eating other humans. They're feeding it to these extraterrestrial entities and beings that have been around for thousands of years. And when you read your Bible, Quran, and Torah, the followers of these religions actually speak to a God that says that when you splatter the blood on the altar or sacrifice a child, that particularly God is pleased, to the point to where the God of the Bible says that he salivates, and the followers of the God Yahweh say that they actually that the God was pleased. Can you hear me, Lana? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Okay. I was on mute. But yeah, keep going because I have to hop on this live.
So basically, this is why we have to guard our children, and particularly our so-called Moorish women, because there's videos going around showing you that these European men want you for your stem cells. They're kidnapping you because they know what's to come. In order for them to survive and what's to come, they have to have so-called black people. This is why they're kidnapping black women, so they can put them in these underground cities, impregnate them, and use them to go wherever. They already told you that they use, someone needs to mute their microphone. They already told you that NASA put these black women in the basement to answer what a computer couldn't. So that meant that black women are more intelligent than a computer and AI. But if they kidnap us, just like they were showing you, they can go to outer space. But when we separate from them, they can't do anything because their culture is based off of Moorish culture. Whenever you go around a European and you start having a real conversation, you ask them, what do you know about the Moors? And the majority of them will say the majority of them will say the Moors are our culture. Wow, you know yourself. While others don't know. So at the end of the day, this is why they're stealing our black women and black children, not just putting them in me, because you can read books on how they used to eat the slaves. Even in Europe, they call it a delicacy. When they were raiding the tombs in Egypt, learn about how they were eating the mummies. So this is a practice of a certain group of people who are ruling us today. So in order to get into Hollywood, political positions of power, you have to participate in these cultures, which are cults that involve human sacrifice. So I brought in Brother Crip Jesus, even though I'm running my mouth. It's going to link up to the crackdown of the Los Angeles gangs. So for me, the gangs have been prospering off of terrorizing their community. And now since the drug trade has stopped with the Mexicans as much as it used to in the 90s, 80s, and 70s, that stopped. So that's less money in the streets for the black community because you were dealing with the pale-skinned European first. The Mexican wasn't even into the picture immediately like that. So when that became the buffer, you had to go through the either Mexican or the so-called white boys to get your product. You know, some people say the Asians. But at the end of the day, when that got cut off and the dispensaries came in California, all you guys got is fentanyl to kill your people with. So now that's why they pump the hooker culture, the prostitution culture, because the so-called original currency was the so-called white woman. He used to sell his mother, his sisters to Moors. So he had to flip it and reverse it. So now that we have brothers like Big U locked up and all these brothers who are dealing with Hollywood, tied to murders, but dealing with Hollywood, we know that they're dealing with people who don't look like us, who are part of certain cultures that perform blood sacrifice in order to be and rise up in the ranks. Now we learn about Figueroa then, how they talk about the blade, how they allow open prostitution in the inner city without structure. But when you go to Europe, like I've seen red light district where prostitution is legal. So we know that the police and the government are linked up to the gangs in LA that allowed, as Freeway Ricky Ross, that allowed these brothers to pimp, prostitute, sell drugs. So now that the drug game is pretty much more deadlier than ever since they can't push the tree and the cocaine is laced, now they're using women. So they have to kidnap women at an all-time high to brainwash the next wave of society. This is where your rappers come in. This is where they say that the top female Hoover gang member was now a female for the ladies. So just like Jeffrey Epstein has his, like the Heidi Fleiss and the Donald Trump and the Hugh Hefners had all those Playgirl bunnies, and Donald Trump had the Miss America pageant. Those are all prostitutes, escorts, they'll call them. Well, black people now have so-called black escorts, black women who gangbang and use girls who grew up in foster care, single parent households, and they lure them in to a lifestyle that they see on TV of a Sexy Red, a Cardi B, a Nicki Minaj, to the women who say niggas ain't shit type of rap, right? To where they don't need a man, to where black women say they don't need a man, that they make money, to where we're dealing with our mothers, which are our young sisters, future mothers, having a mentality that money is more important than raising a nation, tribe, or today what you call a family. So once again, we know that the so-called black LA gangs are a terrorist group who has been used by none other than this brother rolling up right here, the American pimp Snoop Doggy Dogg himself. And that's why the max, because California was filled with Moors, y'all, MERS. So what do they talk about up in the Bay? And instead of revolutionary Black Panther talk, you got Too Short,
bitch,
right? Talk about hookers, even though he had that one song, Ghetto. And he talked about like Lana said, bitch. Even though before he's a poet, he glorifies the street life. Mac Dre, he was talking about Genie in the lamp, how we were gods, but he also was talking about the magic mushroom, but put in the ecstasy dance movement, which ruined a lot of people's lives. But the Mac, because the difference between a Mac and a pimp is also relates to a Moor. That's why they had the Mac Lamore, white boy who was related to Jimmy Iovine. You remember the rapper Mac Lamore? Because the original Macs were Moors who pimp white women all around the world as currency. And so this is why in PIMP you find Snoop Dogg dressing, acting goofy as a Moor with the long hair as the European Moors, right? And behind him you see the family crest of a Moor, but showing you that there's Macs and Moors who are about pimping. So what did they do in Hollywood? They did what we did. And so Pimp Jesus, do you have any knowledge? I mean, Crip Jesus, do you have any knowledge?
Man, you didn't zoom way past, man. Go back, man. You gotta go way back. Listen, man, these people watching, homo. We gotta just run back to the indictment itself. So, So
Sexy Red.
Let's go back to the indictment. Yeah, so here we go.
Lady Dub.
Remember, what happens is it's more like, how do I explain it? What they want to give attention to. So, for instance, I remember when I went to my father, because I was incarcerated when George Floyd and Trayvon Martin, and I remember there was an era from about Trayvon Martin all the way to George Floyd where you could see people getting, unalived on the internet all day.
Keep talking.
On the internet, like all day, any day, right? That's what was the hot thing. So the point I'm making is, when I remember I brought that up to my father at the time, he was like, man, the police been shooting niggas. Like, that been going on all day, every day in the hood. That's why they started the Black Panthers. It's just now y'all got the phones. So what it is this. I can personally say that I've personally dealt with this. I had family members who were underage that went on big. I had family members on the male side that participated as far as like with the pimping, the gang banging. I'll stay right there. Come on, bro.
I would go to Figueroa.
Let me walk it down. Let's take our time. Go on back.
Okay.
Go on back. Yeah, there we go. So I got family members who been on both sides of this, right? Now remember, the reason why the Hoovers are on the limelight is because you got to look at the geographics of this. The Hoover gang is on Figueroa. Right. So Figueroa, as far as where the blade is two gangs there: the Denver Lane Bloods and the Hoovers. So it's not so much like, oh, the Hoovers. It's really like whatever hood is in proximity, right? Because I remember, I ain't gonna sit up here and just be a big old snitch, but I can say, like, I remember when they had the blade, and they still kind of got it like over there, different parts of LA, and then whatever hood is in the proximity, you get what I'm saying? They got it in my hood. They got it in, in Inglewood. They got it, over there down there by the valley and shit. So Long Beach, you know what I mean? So what happens is this. For one, like you said, it's criminalized. They don't have like red light districts, but also it's beyond just the criminalization. It's to the point of what you were pointing out, and I think that's why we got to slow down and really get into that. So you look at this girl, right? She only 20 something, but if you know about her and her reputation and even her record and all that, it goes back for years. So what you have here is people that's being introduced to not just prostitution but crime all the way around at a real like unimaginable ages. Shit that we couldn't fathom, and their parents are with this shit and all that, right? So by the time they're in their 20s, it's beyond just the gang thing. Now you have connections with different organizations, right? And you know, a lot of people like to say, you know, the white man and the programming and all that, but you know, I feel like that shit's played out, me personally, you know, and when you get to stuff like this, that's when you realize it go a little further than that, because I'm under the same programming. We ain't no better than them. We under the same, we watch the same stuff they watch. We watch, right? You can't tell me, hey, I'm about to sell this little kid organs. Are you want them? I'm like, oh yeah. This goes, I don't come from that programming. This is where we gotta take our ego out and really look at what the hell's going on here. These are people who come from worlds we ain't seen. They come from the same world we see, as far as they lived around the corner from us, but different shit was going on in their house. You get what I'm saying? So this is when you start to see, like, I remember I've read 2 accounts of a person who's claiming to have come out of MK Ultra. One was a book, and one was like a report, right? And both of them were trafficked, programmed, and all of that, right in the community with everybody else, amongst those who weren't. You get what I'm saying? So in these gang environments where everything goes, this don't go. We know that. Whether you from a hood or not, whether you from a gang, we know that this don't go. Because shit, the homies got kids. But I will be the first to tell you, this was one of the first things I got into with my homies about. When this came across my desk, I was like, y'all niggas doing what? And when it was time to, like, you know, it come out and all that, I seen the reaction. Nobody cared. Not even the women. You dig what I'm saying? So they couldn't pimp no 14-year-old on Figaro silently, low key. No, this shit is happening because, bro, this been going on. But now it's the generations of it have went so long. You got motherfuckers' grandparents dancing the sugar free, talking about pimping their grandma laughing. How do I know? Because nigga, my brother and his baby mama's one of them. You dig what I'm saying? I've seen this shit up close to where there's so many generations of it, it gets normalized to where it goes. All you gotta do is watch that show. They got a show showing it, a Soft White Underbelly, where he interviews. He's interviewed hoes with their daughters, like whole teams. I don't even know how the show goes on. Like, he interviews some of the crazy stuff. So what I'm saying is, what's happening is you got generations now that's comfortable. So you may have generations of Mexican gangbangers that got cartel connections with generations of these dudes over here that's from this gang that's been pimping and hoeing. His mama a hoe, his daddy a pimp. So it gets so callous that you get to the point of it's like normalized to them. You got the music, you got the lip, you feel what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So this is how you get to a point where you can even fathom shit like that, like organs. What the fuck? Well, yeah, these motherfuckers who've been listening to the music, talking about pimping and beating the hoe up and selling the hoe, watching it being done. Then they get so now it's no shock value in it. So now the only shock value is, oh, it's a kid. Oh, like they're going sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker. And the problem is now they went to the point of putting it on Instagram. They got the motherfucking little kids getting pimped and all this shit. These dudes are got this stuff in music videos. We dudes don't even know, like, there's music videos where they're glamorizing this type of shit, and there's like a girl in the background. You don't even know she's 17 or something. You get what I'm saying? Like this shit, like, is starting to bleed over, because in the community, we at some point we took on this blame everybody else thing to where everything goes. Anything goes as long as we say, well, it doesn't matter. You know, the white man is the reason it happened 400 years ago. I don't give a fuck. You can't come in my house. And I'm gonna tell you how it starts with the glamorization of even the killing, because dudes will sit up and say that's wrong to do that to that kid. But a lot of the homies in the sets is killing kids. A lot of them is pulling up, hopping out their vans, getting off, cracking on, people that's 15, 16, 14. A lot of them is recruiting and training dudes that's 14, 15, 16, 13. The average homie that got put on, they were 12, 13, 14. So what's the difference if I had a homie sock you out and teach you how to do everything dirty under the sun? I'm not going to teach the homegirl to sell that ass. Now, nowadays with the whole masculinity and the female rapper and all that, yeah, because we've been having homegirls, but now you see more of that where the girls chipping shit and killing shit. But we remember an era where girls was getting put on and it was all about sex. You know what I'm saying? The point is the whole street mentality and gang mentality leans toward this. This is just because the perversion of it puts it like, but you tell me the difference between I walk in your grandma's house and she's fine with the kids dancing the sexy red, and the pimp dude who already thinks this way about your daughter that's 19 or 20 saying shit. That one's 16, 17 about to do it. Now here goes, now go back. Here goes a girl. No, go back to the girl. Back. Yeah. Lady Duck. Now here goes a girl doing this to other girls, right? But you got to realize is her amount of connections, because her federal indictment is 31 counts. So she was involved with drugs, burglaries, all type of stuff. She real known the street. So her amount of connections is what put her in like that position where they got the cartel talking and all this and that. Now their case is still open, so it's all alleged. But the point is, this wasn't the state, this was the federal government. You know, the federal government ain't playing. They're not coming in just for nothing. So it's been going on for so long. Yeah, okay. At least let it go. But have you looked at the goddamn indictment? Like, God, they didn't let this go on like this.
Well, they said that they said that the article that I read said that the major investigation when they started really going in is when they asked her about human organs being trafficked, and she said, "How does the girl look? What type of?"
That was on the wiretap. But yeah, I've been telling people that, you know, like all them girls out there don't be turnouts. They you know, some people buy people. But my thing is this though. Let's go back to when you was talking about, you was comparing it to the drug trade. So in the drug trade, they started putting all these different substances that was legal about 20, 30 years right before, make them illegal. They put them in all the proximity. Right. So, in my opinion, when I was coming up, the people that I knew from the gangs that was into that, they focused on the group homes in the hood. And I feel like that was the government's way. Like, you get what I'm saying? So you drop all these orphan, lost girls in the middle of the hood. It's like liquor stores on the corner. Feel me?
Yeah, because we linked the orphans. They created the orphanages to sex traffic and do child labor. With the Europeans, the Little Orphan Annie, Raggedy Ann, the Little Rascals, the Newsies, all those little kids. So they use that, and then they turn those into insane asylums. But Riverside County, the black girl who says she's related to Tupac and got trafficked, who's on that show that you were talking about, she's from Moreno Valley. And when I was a substitute from Moreno Valley Unified School District, they said that Moreno Valley had the #1 adopted like group homes or foster cares. I want to say in the country at that time. And so right then, the girls talking about how they were being trafficked through the foster care, what Brother Jesus is talking about. And the cops know about it, and so they use the human resource. Because I knew a girl who worked in the like government city section that controlled the foster care, and that's what it's all a scheme. The cops are involved.
I mean, I'm not trying to be contradictory, but it's a scheme. But okay, like for example, when I moved to a hood type area, it's certain things kind of just go with the environment. You get what I'm saying? Like you got these group homes. Then you got these motels. Whether they tell them, whether they scheme for them to do it or not, more than likely, because these same people, you might put them in another city, they go do the same shit. It's just like this.
That's because it was done to them. It's because the person running the program, the person who owns the house, works for the city. They're part of a secret society. They do it to the kids, and once you get it done to you, you pass it along like a parasite. It passes along. That's why they hurt people, and they create those environments. And like you said, those kids at 18 usually have to hit the streets, and that's what you're saying. It's a culture now. It just is developed. That's all. It's festered. It's been more organized. Compared to our.
You're 1,000% right. You're 1,000%
Let me end it with this part. Because it just came to me. And why it's more vicious now than ever is because up until the 2000s, when a girl from the Black community got pregnant out of wedlock or was a single mother, it was frowned upon. So the single mother era is new. Mm-hmm. That is new in the community. That's a new celebration and acceptance. So that put a whole new generation of women and children at vulnerability at a rate that we've never seen before, but it was hidden in hip hop.
And they use it in the music.
Right. So they made it
what I'm saying is this problem have to do with us preying on our own children. Out in public. Now, if we could sit here and say, oh, well, other people do it or they did to us, but I don't see nobody, I don't see white people in their community or Asian in their community pimping their kids on the corner in their community. This is some shit that we're going through.
So actually, that's because they don't live on corners. They don't live in the inner city. They don't live.
That's not true, bro. It's Mexicans right here on the corner, bro.
I didn't say that.
I hear black people saying short time. It's a gang of Mexicans right here on the corner, bro. It's a gang of Mexicans all over South Central, Compton, Watson, all that on the corner. And
you said white folks.
They girls before they do it.
Listen, you do not live in a white neighborhood, and you did not grow up in the suburbs, my brother. Did you?
No.
I did. So that's not true. They pimp their kids.
Wait, what's not true? I said that it's not only black people on these corners. There's a bunch of Mexicans on these corners. That is true. That's not true. That is true.
I thought you were saying that. You said
you got to listen, bro. Let me speak. I said that we're saying it's Mexicans on these corners, and they don't do that to their women on these corners. There's Puerto Ricans on these corners. There's Belizeans on these corners. I'm in the 30s right now. It's full of Belizeans, full of 20s, all that. Only the ones that adhere to the black gangster culture are with that shit. And we got to stop that, bro.
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying. Go ahead, Lana.
No, I was going to say, I was raised in the suburbs too. And I know you guys weren't totally bringing that up, but white girls get down differently. They look at sex in a different way. The other cultures look at sex in a different way. They're more free with it. Whereas, our black culture, like you said, when a black girl gets pregnant, is frowned upon because we didn't raise our kids like that. Like I was raised in a church environment where you respected yourself and you didn't give it away and yada, yada, yada. So yes, if a girl got pregnant, everyone in the community is like, oh, we got to keep an eye on her, make sure it doesn't happen again. And that's exactly what we need to be doing now. This is a sign right here that we need to get our brothers to step up and be more examples to these dudes out here who are impregnating these girls or trying to traffic these girls or setting examples. Like you have females out here that are older who have kids. They're dressing their daughters like baby prostitutes. And then wondering why their girls are getting trafficked or looking at them like they're a possible, they're a potential for them to get trafficked. We have to reel it back in. That's what I'm seeing. This is a sign, because I'm not joking. We just came back from Carlsbad and hanging out with all these white folks with old, long money, literally in the hot tub, trying to traffic my daughter. Lady was literally prepping her, telling me everything. Oh, she said, oh, you're prey. She's like, she said, somebody like you, they would take you. They're looking for little girls like you. She's telling my daughter this, and I'm listening to her, and I'm like, yeah, you stay close to me, Hannah. Because she's telling her, she even told me that her father or her grandfather was a Satanist. She's telling me, if you weren't around and if you weren't watching your daughter, she would have been perfect for us. She would have been a candidate that day. So these are red flags that we have to, as elders, because we're on this panel, everyone that's on this panel right now, we're now elders. You feel me? We're next in line. We are the elders. So now we have to say, yo, this is not normal. This is not okay. I have a daughter, she's 13. I can't let her go outside. That's how serious this is. I'm watching people. I can see, I read body language. I study psychology. So I read body language. And I know when someone's looking at my child, or if they have some type of idea or plan, and I don't know why it's such an alarming rate right now, but this sex trafficking thing is at an alarming rate. And showing, I don't know what the girl's name is, but the one that was locked up, that asked how much it is. To me, that's just like Crip Jesus was saying. It's going down generation after generation after generation to the point where it's normal. That's not normal. That's not our culture. That's not how we get down. Our culture.
This is what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to open y'all up real quick. Y'all keep saying it's not how we get down. I'm trying to expose y'all to something that right here in South Central, because this is a specific case. This ain't about all the blacks. This is about right here in LA, in South Central, on Figueroa Boulevard, where they about to bring the Olympics. While they clean it up, they only clean it up because the Olympics come. They don't give a damn about us. We are preying on our own children, and we're not going to fix this by keep talking about what they doing. We got to first man up as a people and call our people out.
Absolutely.
Period. We can talk about all that other shit later. We got to call our motherfucking people out.
Yes.
These are people's uncles, fathers. I'm letting you know, I don't want to put all my business out here, but I'm so passionate because I got family members I cut off for this shit. Because they're doing this shit and it's going down generation to generation, and they coming up on the camera and they talk just like me because I'm related to these motherfuckers. Oh, the white man and the but they over there hanging with the same motherfucker pimping their daughter. Without a white man in sight. And they sound just like me, you, and Jason. With a bunch of big words and all that. They come from the same families. You know what I'm saying? But this has to do with our lack of holding our people accountable. Because them same motherfuckers that got the guns that's killing each other, they right next to these niggas pimping these kids. Why they ain't shooting them?
Sick.
I'm saying if it's all about the government and all the confusion, I mean they sick. Why they ain't shooting them? Oh, I want to shoot something anyway. For some reason, the gun stops working for that. Yeah, because what's happening now is the self-hatred is overriding even the programming. Because remember, part of the Crip and Blood program is, oh, you can't do that, cuz you went too. No. That's part of self-hatred. Yeah, we went that. Yeah, destroyed my daughter, my sister. What the fuck? So you killed and fought your whole life except for your daughter? So the misogyny in the black neighborhood. Let me tell you something I went through getting locked up as a teenager and coming out older, right? I got locked up as a teenager, so I never got to do all the, especially coming from a family where my father's never been married, my brother's never been married, so they all hard, what they call it, hard on the bitch, right? So I never seen the lovey-dove, flowers and matching outfits or no shit like that. So this is things I fantasized of in jail that I wanted to do. So I get out older, find a girl I like enough to do that with. And the dudes around me was talking, like, trying to sabotage it, getting mad. And, bro, what the fuck is you doing, cuz? I'm huh? Like, there's like a whole culture, I realize it is, in the community. Yeah. And we don't want to call it out. We want to start talking about history and what white dude whipped who. Nah, fuck all that. Motherfucker, I'm from the same bloodlines as the rest of these niggas. I don't do that shit. You dig what I'm saying? And the motherfucker can't tell me about the, oh, well, the nigga, my brother pimp. My dad's a sack of shit. You feel what I'm saying? I'm directly around this shit. It's dealing with morality, bro. The only difference I can say between, we ain't any difference in blood. So the only difference I can say between my brother, my dad, and them is I've been exposed to different spiritual sets. I've had blessed to sit and talk with people like yourself and be, you know what I'm saying, and build that part of myself. But when you cut that part of yourself off, anything goes. Anything goes. That's why they be gay, snitching, pimping the little kid, shooting each other. It don't stop. We can go on and on and on and on and on. And they'll excuse it all by saying, well, you know, in 81 or the white man, all that's what the conscious community become. A bunch of excuses as opposed to the truth and saying, nigga, you super low, because this is where we way up at. It's not setting the standard now. Now it's become the excuse. You feel what I'm saying? So that's why I wanted you to show her so bad, because you know, just like I know, without this motherfucking indictment, that's just another rapper. She can hop around the screen and say, fuck a bitch. I send them hoes out. We would be like, yeah, sister getting her life together.
She gets out right now. If she gets out right now and comes out with a rap song.
Yeah, I got free. Still pimping hoes. Right, come on, man. It's gonna be at my grandma's house playing this shit with the little kids dancing to it.
I love how you said the Olympics, brother. That was not on my mind. It was not. Go into that.
Oh, so the Olympics is supposed to be coming in 3 years. So they've already started cleaning up LA because they already know about that. You know, they plan that type of shit 20 years ahead. So that's why all the prices going up downtown. But however, the sore eye to LA is Figueroa. Not just because, but not just because of everyone knowing anyway, the businessman go down there and all that, but because of the hip hop and the social media shit. They're up here like committing these. They're doing, bro. Let's go there. You know, I used to live on. I ain't gonna say the street, but I used to live not too far from that blade, bro. Like right on the other side on Broadway. You feel what I'm saying? So it got so bad, and this is years ago when I was there. It got so bad we couldn't go. Like you go get something to eat, and it's like girls in there with just a thong on. You can't even take the fucking kids in there. And it's what's weird about it is this is some shit that when you're low vibrational, like Jason, keep it real. If you're fully low vibrational, it sound good, right? Like, oh, nigga, I just want to be somewhere with the hoes just walking around naked, right? It sound like some stupid, ignorant nigga fantasy shit. But when you see it in real time, it's like, oh, right? Like, I can't close your eyes, kids. Oh, you go around the corner, some girl butt naked and bent over peeing, and you're like, oh, hell no. So you hear in the rap song the mind that manifests this bullshit. But when you see it in real time and say the type of humans it would take to even stomach this is beyond this deep shit. It's time to do some checking around this motherfucker. Like, you get what I'm saying?
I was watching Jermaine.
I know you know because you know what's up, bro. Me and you talk all the time. It's like, how is they not? How is the homies not on this? Because they in on it too.
Yeah,
because they already look. Because if they not pimping, they dating the young homegirls and turning them out to hit licks and do all this. They just doing it in a different way.
Yeah, and that's why we need our leaders to put our daughters and our young girls on game early, so that this type of behavior doesn't entice them. They're not easily prey. You know, guys aren't out there just telling them what they need to hear. They have a daddy that loves them, or they have a big brother. They have a role model in their life to where they're not looking, or they're not easy prey. This is a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, our brothers and our sisters need to stand up and be the example, so that our children aren't going to get trafficked or get tricked into this lifestyle. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. So Sexy Red trolls a blog after they reported she was a CIA agent since 2018. Now check this out. And I ain't gonna let's pass the mic real quick. When would y'all say, if each person go, when would you say that in our community it became cool to be a pimp? And before you say it's not cool in my house to be a pimp, I'm not saying your direct house, but you know, even Steve Harvey has spent some money and say, ha, big pimping, and we'll laugh with him. So when did this pimp word, I got what I think, but I want y'all to go first and then come back to me because I feel like I'm talking too much.
You want to go, Lana?
What was the question? I didn't hear you. When would you say
that the pimp thing became cool for the black community? Even
I
for the
remember.
suburbs, we might laugh and say, "Oh, big pimping, check your clothes out," or whatever. Like, when did
Swear
that
to
become?
you, I remember this as a little girl. I had an older brother. He was 3 years older than me. Good looking dude. So he got
Go
a
to
lot of
Sexy Red,
girls.
brother.
And his friends would talk about
I'm
like
not gonna
that.
say go to Sexy Red because we're gonna say when did the CIA start pumping this out? Go
Okay.
ahead. My bad.
So
I just want
so
to picture.
his friends, my brother's friends, used to look at me. They used to watch pornos. They used to do all kind of shit when I was a little girl. I saw too much as a little girl growing up. So the word pimp, I heard that a lot. And I was, I was raised in Pasadena, but we moved to Fontana, California. That was San Bernardino County. Okay, so you had a whole bunch of wannabe pimps and gangsters running around that town at that time. And I don't know why, because I'm a female. I don't know why men wanted to do that, but they always wanted to have a bunch of girlfriends, and they always wanted to, tell us what we want to hear, because we're wired different. Women are wired different from males. We believe what you tell us. So if you tell us you love us, if you tell us we're the only one, we're going to believe that. And if we find out that you got a whole bunch of different girls, now you're developing a female that's going to get hurt. So that's the very beginning. So now we're hurt. Now we're in our feelings. Now we're going to listen to somebody else's bullshit. So the word pimp, I heard that word, I want to say like 3, 5, 6, 7 years old. And I just turned 48.
I'm not asking you that. I'm saying, when would you say, it's just an assumption, what era would you say that the good, wholesome, eating good ham chops and all that shit, black community become cool with the word pimp?
The movie,
by the time you 5
probably high school. Honestly,
it's the
high
movie
school.
The Mac. They said the movie The
90s.
Mac. No, it
That
was
movie, The Mac, is what most dudes
Hold on.
watch.
So you said Ice-T?
No, you said the movie The Mac.
Oh, you said the movie The Mac, Lena?
And what year did The Mac come out?
That was
Hold on. You said The Mac, right? That what you saying, Lena?
Me? No.
Yeah.
I had an older brother, so I heard the pimp era. That what you're asking me, that word pimp and how that was for me. That was like junior high school.
Okay, I'm saying. You see how he said The Mac? I get where he go. That's why I want to wait, because I know you're finna go into. I'm saying, when would you say, or do you agree? When would you say that the black community, to the point where you even heard it from your brothers, who we obviously know was not out there committing that crime? So when the hell did this word become part of the black lexicon of cool talk? What would you say? I'm not saying you got to have the exact answer, but when would you say that era was?
The era would be, again, for me, around junior high school. Is that what you're asking? What year? Like the 90s?
No. I get what you're saying. I was more asking like for the people. What would you say, Jason?
But like you said, of course, the movie The Mac, we used to watch that. So, but like Ice-T, you just mentioned him, but it was the rap, because really, here's how it is. For me, movies like House Party are the perfect example of how we looked at the pimp and the gangster. We looked at them as a joke. All of a sudden, New Jack City came out. That's really my first picture of Nino Brown kind of pimping. And then we saw the Mac, and like this movie, it was American Pimp that got me. Even though I saw Pimp, growing up. But this movie right here, what we watched in college, we saw it in high school, and everyone was fascinated when it came out.
Who's everyone? Who's everyone? Brothers were fascinated, not the females. Go ahead. Keep going.
Okay. All right. So as far as the brothers go, this was a documentary in a film produced by the Hughes brothers, who did Believe Minister Society as well. And so this movie made Drink Magic Don Juan super famous on this scene throughout the world. So right here, this, like the Mac, they said did damage, and Dolomite, American Pimp was the documentary that brought in the theme music when Snoop Dogg started doing that. And so if you guys can remember, like in the 90s, you know, really, for me, is when that became a cool thing, you know, and he was like his mentor. And in the so-called black community, the pimp became more cool when back in the day, the pimp was considered a fool, like in the movie I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. Like white boys when they dress at Halloween as a pimp, they're really laughing at you.
Okay, but can I come in real quick? This is what I want to say.
Okay.
Even the I'm gonna get you sucker pimp, people I'm about to say here, he has an outfit. That means you would have to subconsciously all agree that that's the pimp outfit to even get the joke. So when did we learn the pimp outfit? That's the movie The Mac, like you said, just like the whole fucking drug dealing, I'm a D-boy culture starts with the movie Scarface. Because that's back when movies were heavily regulated. They couldn't release no motherfucking movie about a black man helping teaching women to prostitute unless the government said okay. So what happened was, this is the blaxploitation era. So what happens is you got the what was the joint with what was the brother's name? The twins. They did the movies, the Peebles, Van Peebles, another brother, right? They had the Black Dynamite, Willie Hutch, whatever. So they had their movies, and they were trying to imitate that whole little black movie movement. The CIA comes in. This how far back this shit goes. It's the 70s. Why you think everybody bases black culture on the 70s, the Afro of the 70s? But we know that Afro was really the 60s. Because the 70s is when the motherfucking CIA came in and said, oh, this is black culture. So they came in and made the pimp. And I disagree with you, Lena. The women do rock with it. Like, women love Sugar Free. Women love the pimp Don Juan shit. Women love, I'm not saying your group of women, but you're not going to take all the women off the hook now. There's plenty of women that support this shit, push it. And we know now, because we're in 2025, where the women got their own pimping music, own pimping. The head lady of the indictment was a girl from the Hoovers. Like, this is crossed over. This is a community thing that we got to realize.
It's all staged. It's all staged. It's all designed.
No,
like
it's not staged.
It's all designed for that.
This shit's real. Like, it's real. Like, the men and the women in the community have accepted this as a norm. You know what I mean? That's why, if you think about it, I've noticed this. Whenever I bring this topic up, people start talking about guys wanting a bunch of girls. No one starts talking about crime, because we don't even look at it as crime anymore. We look at it as like part of the whole, oh, he's trying to be a pimp and a player. A pimp is a dude who sells humans. He's not a dude with a bunch of girls. But in the black community, if you even got 3 girlfriends, they say, oh, you think you a pimp? Nigga, I'm not selling nobody. I hate when girls get to be like that. Like, I resent the fuck out that shit. But in the black community, even being a dude that can be attracted to several girls, you're a pimp. Fuck that. But that shit goes back to the 70s.
But the girl's a hoe.
Exactly.
It's the other way around.
Perfect. Exactly. Who the hell said dancing and twerking, you sell ass? But once again, since the 70s, it's been a program to push this on both. So now it's I'm a bitch, I'm a hoe. By I call myself that. Now it's the black man. I'm a pimp. I'm a player. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, wow. I'm a pimp. I'm a player. So now the program is in full-fledged motion. That's what we're seeing. 50 years later, we're seeing 50 years complete, because that movie probably came 75. Let me look it up. Bet you it came out 75. We're seeing a 50-year machine complete that got the man and the woman. I promise you.
Bringing it both together. This is what is the Matrix TV is all about. Conversations that need to be had. 73?
Yeah, 73.
Wow. So it rolled in with the 70s.
Even a lot of look, Jason. Even you can admit this. Even as boys growing up, there were certain lines from the movie The Mac that was taught to us as just black culture talk. Like, oh, you know what it is, bro. Your bitch chose me. Like, these were considered just black slang.
So degrading. It was so degrading to women. So as a man, when we see men talk about pimp this, pumping, as a woman, degrading. So imagine having a daughter. You know what I'm saying? Now you have to look at your daughter and would you want your daughter to be treated like that? So this is why I said,
I'm gonna tell you
I'm
something
not
that don't
saying
get
you
talked about.
specifically, talking about the audience. That's why I
No,
said
but
we
listen,
have
you
to
know
be
what
the
don't get talked
elders.
about on YouTube or nowhere else?
Wait, say
Yes.
it again.
You know what don't get talked about on YouTube and nowhere else? The answer
What?
to what you said, the sad truth to what you said. Yes. Yes. There's women in the ghetto that raise their daughter up and say, "Hey, bitch, pop that pussy." Yeah,
Yes.
woo, yes.
To this
And no
day.
one wants to talk about it. Yes, that's what
To
Sexy
this
Red.
day.
That's why I keep begging him to leave it on Sexy Red. Leave
Lana,
it over here for a good 20 minutes or something.
scandal.
Let them soak that in. That we is on that. That people are, when you go to your homegirl or your auntie house, she playing that shit. And you looking at her saying, "Why are you playing this?" Because she trying to secretly let you know when you leave, she talk in front of her daughter just like that. She talk in front of her daughter just like that when you leave. I know women that went to college that talk in front of their daughter like that.
I see it. Do you notice how much love to my sister?
The sisters like you. I'm saying the sisters like you got to hold them sisters accountable. It ain't all just. I mean, maybe it's programming years ago, but right now they're doing that shit.
Absolutely. Yes.
Remember how you and I would notice the change on how so-called black women dress now, how they go out with sandals, flip-flops, bonnets, things of that nature.
Fashion Nova, Sheen. When I grew up, I shopped at Nordstrom, Harris, even Broadway. Shit. Now it's like you can't even go to those places because all the outfits are skimpy, tight. The material isn't even good for the woman's body. Like, that's a whole nother live. But yeah, it looks just like those outfits. Go back to that picture with the prostitutes around Figueroa. That's what they're selling online. And I've seen little girls actually buy booty shorts that are my daughter's age, 13.
Wow.
13,
right
booty shorts.
This is what I mean when we get past programming, when we get to just plain simple morality. Stay
Let's
right
talk
there for a second. Now, here's what the big talk sells to you. Oh, the streets and that. Everybody right there don't do that. Bro, them 4 girls probably don't even live right there. Let's come on, Jason. You know the truth, bro. Let's have a real, because we have an inside look. Fuck this the big word shit. Them 4 girls probably don't even live there. So what's really the problem is all them people in them houses, they not calling the police. They not coming outside saying, "Get the fuck out of here." They're letting it happen, bro. I'm gonna tell you what's really going on. It's really some racial shit. They say, "Oh, you niggas like to pimp your own women? Well, sell yourself out while we buy up all these houses." The Mexicans living up in there still going to school and shit. Jason, you know I'm not lying. Let's talk the real shit's going on. They're sitting there laughing, letting it happen because they're still selling tacos and corn. Or your dumb ass selling your daughter. Talking about the government and the system. No, the problem is, homie, the shit that got so out of hand, we can't even check our own people no more. So now they're just getting rid of themselves. Because here's the funny part about it. What we watching now is the very end of this. All them streets right there. I used to live over there, bro. Twice in my life. Right?
Where they're gonna go is the question now. Where are the people going that are disappearing? And then where are the people from LA about the freaking move? So are they gonna
get into
make a flood? Are they gonna flood
what you about to get
out LA?
Because think about it. What you about to get into about how the government's involved, right? I got a homie that got arrested over there, but guess who was the undercover agent? The prostitute. So hold on. Yes. Yeah. So do these niggas really even know who's out there? They're all in the music video. Yeah, we out there. Yeah, this the whoopty wop. How is it cop women around y'all if y'all beating all these women up and got them all in check and know what's going on? This is what I'm saying. It ain't even what you think it is. They beating up their own women. They beating up some girl that's 15, 16. These niggas is weak, bro. This ain't the version of pimping we grew up around. This is some other shit, right? This is some way out crazy shit where the Mexican cartel that came and they're just watching niggas eat themselves. And it's like damn near funny to them.
Be careful with
this is going on. And remember this, like Brother Crib Jesus
them girls live right there.
Like Brother Crib Jesus said, so this is Los Angeles. This is Southern California, where we're dealing with the Mexican culture as well. But out of state, in every black community, this is going on. And you see the so-called immigrants taking over slowly by surely. Louisiana, they said it. New York. So everywhere that is being gentrified. And so whether you're in Memphis, Atlanta is headquartered I was listening to Jermaine Dupri bragging about the strip club, spending $1 million, and I'm like, you a grown ass man, still talking about this shit, dog. And then you're the one who brought in Bow Wow, and we know that Bow Wow was a kid. They thought he was a girl. We heard stories. The Brad, Chris Cross, the new guy saying that he was.
You got a bomb? You got a bomb.
You guys remember Chris Cross? He was screaming Illuminati. He passed away. And so Snoop Dogg, much love. When we talk about these are government agents. This is why Eazy-E had to go. He had to go because at a time, the gangsters, like the Tookie Williams, what did he won the Nobel Peace Prize. So now we're talking about a change from when a brother like Crip Jesus, to where the gangster was supposed to evolve to the God. Just like they were.
Let me ask you this. If a little kid walks out there right there between them four women, no one's saying nothing? The people in the house, she 14, 15. The people in the house ain't said nothing. The other hoes ain't said nothing. The pimps, the other fellow pimps ain't said nothing. Like
and then the food. Now we can really get, it's a parasite. The food, the chemtrails, the music, all these things that we know is in full effect in the Matrix hologram.
That's why I said 98% of the world is mentally ill. They're mentally ill.
So with the Olympics coming in, where are these people going to go? They're going to lock you up. You're going to become food. You're going to be shipped out, or you're coming to Riverside County or the Victorville places, depending on where you're going to be at. And so it's all programming. This is why the earthquake, they've been waiting. They're waiting for something to do in California to change the demographics, but also for me, it's going to be the robot rollout. But go ahead. So basically,
the Atlanta rapper, right?
Yeah, there you go.
But look, you connecting so much shit. You moving so fast. Like you just said, Jermaine Dupri. That's another version where it's like, oh, we ballers, we got all the money, so all the girls fly to Atlanta and sell yourself. But all of these different areas is such big hordes of women that come from such low income in random places. They just scraping them up and taking them right where I already know you're gonna go. The government dropping them off. Where you can do what you want with them. Where they go from organs to who knows where they're going, right? We ain't gonna go, I'm gonna let you go. But so let's stick right here, right?
Okay.
So what we have here are Pied Pipers, gangsters, rappers, just like you were showing with Snoop. Just like I know, bro. The gangsters used to beat up the pimps. They ain't like that shit. They used to be like, nigga, I got a daughter, cuz. So they worked hard during the 90s to mix it all together. So now it's like, to be a gangster, you got to be a pimp too. To be a baller, you got to be a pimp too. Or to be some Atlanta boss trap dude, you got to, maybe not a pimp, but they're like a trick. So you still got to be a hoe, right? It's like, I got these bands, baby, pop the coochie for the homies, whatever the hell. So it's all this world of sex, traffic, and big lights to attract the girls, whether it be the Diddy version, the Atlanta rapper Cash Out version, or the homie in the hood gang banging on YouTube with 1,000 views version. They are the ones that's being used by the Illuminati to lure the people in.
It's the Pied Piper, and he said it too.
R. Kelly, the original Pied Piper.
He said that.
Jason, and Crip Jesus. Okay, so I remember a while back we talked. You mentioned something to me about men having like an empire, and there's like other women on the land. Like, what is it called? Polygamy or polyag? Was that what it's called?
Polygamy, yeah.
Okay, so when you were speaking about pimping, and you guys were talking about hoes and this, and I was getting cringe because I'm a woman, so it's different when men are like, yeah, you got all these bitches, you know what I mean? But as a woman, it's like, damn, you treat me like I'm just, I ain't shit. So I'm wondering if that whole programming was designed to make something like polygamy or having an empire look bad. You feel me? So as a woman, I would never want to be in a empire where there's one man and there's all these women on the land, even though that concept at some point legit happened, right? Like at some point in life, we actually lived like that, where there was maybe, different men on the land, a bunch of women, but it was community. We were community. We grew that way. So now you have it to where men are looking at women like, you ain't shit but a hoe and a trick. And having a community where, there's a man and there's a bunch of women on that land, polygamy, having that kind of community for a woman like me, I would say I would shun that. I would say that that's not possible because of the way women were treated these past, 40 plus years. We were treated like prostitutes. We ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? So do you think that that programming had something to do with shunning that type of community? Do you know what I mean?
I would go a step further. I will go a step further. I can't read the mind of the COINTELPRO person who made the counterintelligence to our family structure, the pimping and all that. I can't say that he wanted to break up polygamy. I could assume he did, right? But I can say this for sure. The result of it is exactly what you're saying. So what happens is two things. For one, it goes, oh, you think you got a bunch of bitches? Even the women are saying this, calling themselves, oh, a bunch of bitches. You ain't no pimp. So like you said, even the concept of him having more than one woman and all this and that. But you even got people who say our grandfather's version where he had another wife somewhere completely different, fully took care of her, kind of like the Muslims did over the East. They'll say, oh, your granddaddy was a pimp. So I see that. But then take it a step further, and I hate to say this, some brothers may get mad. The pimp mentality has got so deep in the black community, a lot of these so-called spiritual dudes that talk that polygamy shit, they try to pimp the women. They act like they doing polygamy, but they want all their money. They want them all eat each other pussy. You be like, well, where's the polygamy? It's like they're all in the same room. They're all beefing. They're all on low vibes. So in my experience, I've never seen the black power dude that does it the way that they claim. And if they do, they probably keep it private. All the brother polite and all that type of shit is what you see the brothers say, oh yeah, because this is what I see. They say more than one woman, more than one woman. They're not saying more than one family. They're not saying more than one. It's like, so
only certain men, only certain gods, certain superheroes are supposed to be procreating with women on the planet. Certain brothers are built for that, mentally, spiritually, physically, raised that way. And also they've come out with the studies where they say men don't mature till 43 years of age. And that sounds about right. And women is either 32. So when we get to that, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing and Ashada Ali, excuse me if I said her name wrong, she says that that's around the time when men are supposed to be procreating. And so, yes, the reason he shut down what today they have a name for, empire building business, which is called polygamy, is a business. When you look at it as an empire, a nation, instead of having 20 homies where 19 of them either want your wife or want your spot, if you have your land, your natural resources, your knowledge yourself, and have 4, 10 wives, and you have a business, whether this is a lawyer, this one is a doctor, this one is the pharmacist or who works the farm, this one is this. It's not necessarily about sexual pleasure as we see today with brothers.
Exactly. Because chime in real quick.
Because you mentioned a lot of these brothers, for example, like you see the Shannon Sharps, these brothers who are not getting punani. You could tell with brothers. Wait, let me finish, brother.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is that certain men, I know, but let me finish so I can get to my point. Certain men and God have always been that guy who have always had access to women to where they might even have to beat off women with a broomstick, versus a guy who just started getting punani because of YouTube fame or celebrity or money. And that's fake. That's not real.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that certain so-called men, not every man is built like, not every man makes varsity. Not every man gets to play in college, NFL is the same thing. Same thing. Certain people don't graduate high school, college, master's degree, doctor. Same thing with leading a woman. You have men who are pieces of, you know what, men who cannot handle a family, but when it comes to multiple women, he bankrupt our people. When we have our kingdom and so-called empire together, there will be no single woman. And when there's no single mother, that's the end of poverty in our community, because every woman, the so-called Moorish woman, is born knowing everything. So when she has one brother, she's able to manifest her reality. And that's what the brother has to understand. Without your woman, it's going to be very hard. And that's what they're separating, so they can bring in the homosexuality, so they can bring in the robots, so they can bring in the smart cities, so they can control what you eat, so they can control your reality. One God, one religion, one way of thinking. So when you wake up again as a child in the matrix, your mother or father, matter of fact, you might not even have a mom and dad. When you wake up, other people will wake up in what they call like the hospital, and you'll have a hologram or a robot teaching you. You won't even know that you as a Moor in antiquity, let alone now, produced inventions, built the pyramids, that you are math, that you are science, that you are wind, air, math, that you are the arts. This is what they're doing slowly but surely, and that's what they're doing with the AI. So they've done that in the so-called troglodyte community. That's why they're exposing themselves, with the Jews underneath the tunnels being exposed in Hollywood, how they've still been practicing the cabal, how NASA and the government has admitted now that extraterrestrial crafts are here, that they're headed here, that they've always been here, and that the government has been feeding humans to these extraterrestrial beings. And it's all to feed the illusion to these extraterrestrial beings that keep this current matrix alive. And this is what our show is about. This is what July, August, September, October, November, the Aquarius age is about. It's about opening up a new reality. But in order for the new reality to come, people have to know the reality that they're living in. So they're slowly giving it out to the public, slowly giving them food, slowly dismantling the gang, slowly telling you that hip-hop was CIA. They told you years ago about the Rick Rosses. They let him out. He told you. So they're exposing it. And the last frontier is exposing that the religion and the God of the main religion are extraterrestrials that eat flesh, that eat human flesh. And when the return happens, there'll be earthquakes, there'll be floods, there'll be a new type of rulership, except for those who are vibrating on the frequency, those who have the knowledge and have our own Moorish land, which we talk about in Riverside County. When we start understanding that you as a Moor were already here your last time in the Matrix. So when they change the names to the cities, when they change the maps, and they tell you that Egypt and Tamaray is only in Africa, and that was where you come from, but you have to understand it's the education system. Jerusalem isn't in Israel, isn't in the Middle East. It's inside of you. It's called Jerusalem. You can set up Jerusalem anywhere on the planet. And so these sciences, these education systems, we practice all over the planet, but the refuge is going to be Riverside County, California, for us, so we can have a safe haven for our brothers and sisters to learn on more science, what today they call their African spirituality, away from the cities, away from these places where we have our own farms, our own food, practicing our science, literature, or have the land like Atlantis, where we focus on technology, virtual reality, creating our own robots. This is the thinking that we're on, because you see that they've already created a program for what they call Black people. But when you start operating on these word spells and breaking word spells and creating your world with words and confidence, we build that. And so in order to get to the mind state of your pineal gland, to being the most high consciousness being, they have us what they call trapped in our lower form, which is hell, like Figueroa, they say. So in order to get up out of hell, you gotta walk through hell. And so that's what we're dealing with. And that's what people are fearing. And that's the people who are going to be left behind. You have to start preparing your mind for a brighter day. And that's what we're creating right now when we do our studies of what they're doing with the women. After that last frontier, the kids, basically, when you understand that you're in a video game, in a matrix hologram, you understand that you can plug that in, but you'll have to start as a kid, right? So it would make sense that you would protect the children and the environment and nature because you're going to come back. So that's the importance of protecting the kids, because you are a kid. You are the GOAT. You're supposed to still be running around here trying to figure it out, still trying to, they call it mischievous, but basically like Kanoon, you're supposed to weave your world. You're supposed to use your magic, the Magi, the Jedi. And so when you understand that you come from this land and that they've created things like the hip hop, the music, the sound, the Black culture, they're going to disband that because Black culture has become hip hop. It's no longer the tap dancing. It's no longer the family reunions. It's over. And so once they destroy that, like they destroyed the Diddy's, the Suge Knights, everyone is pretty much in Hollywood gone. Now they're replacing it with Africans from out, homosexuality. So you're being replaced as an American right now. So these are the solutions that we must come up with, but also what we're dealing with. So once again, with the Snoop Dogg relating it to the Moors behind him. So the original pimps were Moors in a sense, and I don't like to use that word pimp, but when you understand that the so-called European woman was, they say pimp around the world by Asians, all over the world, Australia, North Africa. This is when you learn about the Navy, because these are the pirates the Navy was fighting. So right here, they call it white slavery. I want everyone watching the show to look up the Moors and white slavery. And now you'll see why they programmed us to become pimps, not respect our mothers, not respect our families and daughters and the women, like Pimp Jesus was saying, because in their eyes, we were kidnapping their women and prostituting them around the world for currency. So right here, we talk about, they say they made white women do this, but also when we study the Moors, the so-called white woman said that they would beg to leave with the Moors. The books that I've read, they said that the so-called pale-skinned European woman would beg to leave with the Moors because we taught them how to bathe, we gave them language, we cut off their fur, we gave them magic sciences, a few of them. And so this is when it starts to get fun, when we unravel the mystery of the Moors. I was watching a documentary about the pirates, and they said how an Englishman, when he became a pirate, he had to he had to convert to Islam. And basically he was taught by the Moors. And so the documentary basically was showing us that the pale-skinned Europeans that they show you are pirates aren't the original so-called pirates. The pirates of the Caribbean in the seas are the Moors, the Moors, the sons of Mary, Maya, us. And so this is when it starts getting fun, when you start unraveling why certain things happen to us. And so for me, it's like, okay, we learned our lessons. And so for me, this could be punishment for those who will be left behind versus those who get it and say, okay, learned our lesson, it's time to build. And this is when all the other nations are going to build with us, y'all. When they see us doing for self, when they see us building up the land. And so, Crip Jesus, are you there? So go ahead, Lana. You wanted to add in to anything with the so-called, if you knew about white women captives in North Africa. And right there, you see a Moor with a so-called pale-skinned European woman. And so when we understand movies like Othello, to where they portray the hatred of when the Moor would sleep with the so-called white woman or the European is because we start getting into the royalty of mixed children, the conquistadors, and the Spanish who came over here being Moors. So when it comes to the when it comes to the human trafficking, this is what they hide. The USA ended white slavery in Arab. Let me show you why you asked the question.
Is that why? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, is that why European women are a little bit more promiscuous? They're more not promiscuous, just more free when it comes to sex.
With the animal moralistic behavior.
Just in general, like a little bit more free. Like, you know, I've had friends that were European or white, and they're a little more free with their sexuality.
Interesting.
Like they don't mind threesomes. They don't mind having and to them it's just, hey, it's just sex.
Well,
versus it being meaningful.
That was shunned upon. Well, they used the sex magic also in Hollywood for a bond. Like certain tribes or certain nations, there's certain tribes and nations to where, let's say, a woman was in power and she had, let's say, 20 different men, and it didn't matter who the baby was because that son or daughter was going to be raised no matter what in a kingdom or queendom of knowledge, superiority. So they had that too, to where the woman had multiple, they call it a stable. You know what I'm saying? Like a stallion, like they say, Meg the Stallion. A stallion is a man. Mm-hmm. And so women had that as well, because you got to remember, like I teach, before God, there was a goddess. Before men were ruling, the woman, it was a matriarchal society. So, but when we talk about sexuality, that's something to explore, because really we taught them about sex. It's just that we use Kama Sutra sex. We use sex for different seasons, different reasons, to get math, to get science, having sex to get knowledge from the ethers, not just off of emotion and things of that nature. And so that's why Hollywood focuses on homosexuality sex, because it forms a bond. And then when they do it in secret, that's why they're able to hire this person on set, make this person famous. The only way you'll get in this level in the government or in entertainment is if you sleep with this man or have a train ran on you, because it makes you closer, so we can trust you. You have our energy. Matter of fact, you know, when you have sex with someone, you can still think of them. You can sometimes still draw that energy from a woman or a man for a woman, but as a man, you can still think about a woman you had sex with. That's why they tell women in particular what you sleep with, because the nut, the life force of that man, of every man you slept with, will always be in there. That's why they teach women not to have sex with multiple men unless you come from, like a crib Jesus will say, those type of families of a sacred whore, where her mother and fathers were in that. And that's when the sacred whore and the harlots were, where a lot of information was talked about. And so the whore of Babylon knew everything, like the Mary Magdalene. So they say that Christ had sex with Mary Magdalene and had kids. And she
like that girl that wrote that book. She wrote a book about all the guys that she had sex with in the industry. She was giving out names. I forgot her name, but she was giving out names, and she was telling on all of those celebrities that she slept with, all their secrets and everything. She wrote a book on it.
Really?
Oh yeah, I'll find out the name of that book. It just recently happened.
Is it? You remember her? Beverly Hills Madam Heidi Fleiss.
I remember Heidi. Fleiss. Mm-hmm.
So right there, you see that they commercialize their pimps. You know, when we look right here with the Donald Trump picture to the right, y'all, you see Donald Trump in the Playboy magazine. So Hugh Hefner.
Can I interrupt real quick? Okay, just real quick. Because I think Crip Jesus had mentioned something about like, what error did I find that pimping was coming out, blah, blah, blah. Well, again, when pimping was coming out as a woman, that to me was very disrespectful. So, of course, you know, we got to flip the script. So when Heidi Fleiss came out, that's when, in my mind, I was like, oh, I'm going to pimp these guys out now. Because girls can be pimps too.
Right. And that's what Kim Kardashian's mom is to these black women and her daughters too. You know, it's Satanism. It's just simply lower form of the material world, enjoying while you're here. But some people are only here. They're trapped here on what you call the earth realm. They cannot go any further mentally. That's why they have to kidnap our people, is because without us, there is no basketball. Without us, there is no NFL. Matter of fact, here's an example. If there were no Moorish people or us as indigenous people amongst pale-skinned Europeans, so let's take an example. Let's say they had Europeans who just got found and they never been around so-called black people, and you would go taste their cooking. With no black influence, they never met a black person, Moor never taught them anything. How would those Europeans be living? And that's where we're at today, is that they have to put us in these cities. These cities are actually prisons, y'all. They're actually slave quarters, to where they force us to believe in an imaginary world that does not exist. It only exists in our minds. And so when you leave their cities, it's not real anymore. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like the crime, the racism, the belief in their God and Jesus, all these things, we don't have to believe anymore to be happy, to create technology, to create wealth. And that's what they do. They use their ancient culture and they say, oh, we believe in God. Oh, and secretly, they have gated communities where they fuck on each other, they kidnap people, they have sex parties, they have parties where they kill people. You can do anything. That's why they talk about bestiality. They talk about Hugh Hefner performing bestiality, because we know that they do that. So we know
which is
that
normal for them.
Right.
That's
it's
normal
because
for them.
they are mankind. And then there's man. And so there's two types of man. Like they said when they lied about the moon landing, Lana, they said a small step for man and a giant step for mankind.
For mankind, and nobody caught that, not even me. I thought, oh, that was just the not etymology, but when you use the thesaurus and you try to find another word to replace one you're using.
Yes.
I thought that was what it was. Like, oh, okay, you know, even writing my papers, I would use the thesaurus and not realizing there's different species.
Well, right here, look at the people who've been controlling Hollywood. It's no secret, much love to all people, that those who are pale-skinned Jews, they say, run Hollywood. And so once again, when we see that there is a certain sect that has been part of funding hip-hop, funding the blaxploitation movies, we would have to ask, what is the purpose? And that's why I say it's simply a distraction. It's simply a distraction to keep you from learning about who you are as a people. But they have to perform these so-called satanic Judaic acts to their deities and their gods to keep their dream alive. Just like we taught in the movie Midnight Meat Train. It's all linked to, and so when we talk about Lady Gaga, she had an album called Adrenochrome. Charlie Sheen would talk about tiger's blood and how it kept him young. He was talking about how he was drinking children's blood, literally in front of people.
Yeah.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas with Johnny Depp. They talked about how they were drinking adrenochrome, which is when they torture people, pretty much innocent children who have the youth, and they can get that life force. And then when they do it on a mega level with certain sacred geometry and screams and torture, they're able to get that energy. And that's why, once again, in Judaism, and when you read the Bible right, their God asked for a human sacrifice in the form of Jesus. And then
Mm.
they tell their followers to drink the blood of Jesus to receive eternal life. Then they say to eat the flesh of Jesus to live forever. But they use cranberry juice as symbology to trick your mind. Then they use bread. So right there,
Wait, and it's even worse.
okay.
They sacrifice Jesus on the cross and say that that was his only begotten son. So if you have any kids and you process that, like, damn, I'm giving up my only son to save everyone. Oh my God, let me take up the cracker and the juice. Oh, they play on us, our emotions, and we fall for it.
They live off of our emotions. That's why they do the Halloween. They make us afraid of the other side. They make us afraid of death. When we understand as etheric beings that we never die, that we cannot die, you would approach life different. You would understand that they have you on a false calendar. When they give you a calendar, when they give you time, when they give you age, it creates a false reality in your mind for you to follow. Like Lana says, a fake script. And they can siphon your energy on these days. They make money on birthdays. That never stops. You can go to the store and you have to buy birthday cards, balloons. That's business, nonstop. Because of
Rituals.
fake birthday, here you go, rituals to make you think that you die. And that's why they always call it color people's time. Because color people's time is basically letting you know you're a god and you don't operate
Follow
on
that shit.
fictitious time. Because they do. Because when we separate from them, they go back or they're stuck. So
They
they'll
have to be on
return.
time.
They have to have that structure because they're not connected to the Netarus. They're not the programmers. That's why we named our ancient gods in antiquity off of nature. Water gods, water goddesses, nature deities. And when a so-called pale-skinned European wants to separate from their racist mothers and fathers, what do? What type of lifestyle do they run to when they want to separate from the pedophiles and their satanic fathers and mothers? What do they always run to? They
Religion?
run. No, that's leaving religion. When they leave
Oh,
religion, when they leave their rich families, they become either hippies, they get into crystals, they become one with nature, they start talking
nature.
about mushrooms, ayahuasca, we're one. They're going into our culture.
Rain
That's
Birkenstock.
our culture. When you see them dealing with crystals, when you see them dealing with ayahuasca, mushrooms, what we call word magic, witchcraft, which is shamanism, that's all us. When we brought them from their so-called low-level stage as being released from the caves, when they were Fred Flintstone, Ooga Booga, Bigfoot, the Yeti, when we gave them the alphabet, before they were,
Yeah. And they demonize calling it witchcraft because we have access to the ethers, so we get information. They're like, how does she know that? She must be a witch. So they demonize our spirituality, called it witchcraft because we're connected to the creator. And that's being a hater. You feel me? So that's why they have to have time. They have to have time, and they have to, notice everything that they do, even when it comes to dancing, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And you even see feet marks on the ground. That's because they need that. They don't have rhythm. We just, we flow. They need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Where we're like, hey girl, you know what I'm saying? We got rhythm because we're connected to the creator. We don't need to operate off of a straight line and you went outside the line. You know what I'm saying? Like that's their mentality. So go ahead.
And so basically, when we talk about the Moors, when they were so-called enslaving or prostituting the white woman, truly they were giving the so-called women they took out of the caves knowledge. They gave the so-called the white woman knowledge on how to bathe herself, on how to use herbs and spices for her food. So the original, like Lana was saying, the original witch was the so-called black woman because she is the original goddess. She is the original mother of all civilization. So in order to bring the so-called white woman into civilization, us as the men had to clean her up before we could even bring her amongst our mothers. And so we were giving her civilization, what they call in secret the Eastern Stars, Islam, the Shriners, all these witches that they have are all studying Lana. They're studying Lana in herself in her ancient antiquity, like a Marie Laveau, you know, those type of sisters who they call psychics, but truly you are connected to the tree, you are connected to the plant. So just like they gave us George Washington Carver, who could talk to the plants, who is the so-called Moorish woman? They give us Dr. Sebi, right? Who is the Moorish woman who is above him, who taught him? And so this is what we learned, that when you see a so-called white woman practicing crystal technology or psychic ability or anything that's outside of religion, if they're not giving it up to you as a Moor, if they're not admitting that you are the original Indian, that's what you call witchcraft, that's Satanism, that's using the Jesus spell. So that's what they do to black women to see how intelligent you are. They'll come up to you and say, "Oh, do you believe in Jesus, girl?" And if you say, "Yeah," they know they got you. They can manipulate you. They can get you to use you for money. They can kidnap your kids, or they can just run game on your whole family. Same thing as men. They'll come up to you, "Brother, you believe in God and Jesus?" "Oh, yes, I do." They know, "Oh, he's a nigger." But when you know you're a Moor and you tell them, and then they'll start questioning, "Oh, this Granada and this," and they say, "Oh, you are indeed a Moor." And when you tell them who you are and who they are, they don't say no. And that's how you understand the power of the word Moor, or Mur, Mary, Maya. And even when we're talking about Jesus or Yeshua, he's the mother of Mary. So he had a mother. So once again, you had to be taught by a woman, because the woman is your first teacher. You know what I'm saying?
Quick question: with this pimps up, hose down thing you have here, I see the black woman on this side and the white woman on this side. So basically, what I'm seeing, help me understand, was the Moorish woman the one that was leading the black man in a sense, right? And then now the black man is in this book. What I can see is like what you were telling me is like the white women are all on him, right? So she's building him up, and he's taking whatever knowledge that she's given to him, and he's applying it to the women, the white women. Is that what you're saying? Is that what happened?
He gave her a world, using words. So basically, if it wasn't for us as Moors coming amongst them and giving them words that create worlds and science of farming, mathematics, how to clean themselves, they still would be stuck in what today they will call the Dark Ages, with no plumbing system, fleas infested, having sex with animals, sacrificing their children, having a civilization based on pedophilia like Cupid, like Rome, like Greece, where it was legal for grown men to have sex with little boys. That's what we learned about also with Valentine's Day and Cupid. And so right here, we also learned that Moors went to war with their mothers, because we were talking about the queendom. So they said that there was a time where it was like, "Damn, Mom, I want my own land to practice my own culture too." And so brothers went to war. My son, and you get into the word Mason, you know, Maya's son, Maya and Mason. And so us wanting our own reality outside of our mothers, which they might call Haru leaving his nest to create his kingdom in Tehuacán, or in Kemet, meaning that a group of priests and priestess left under another rulage of a so-called empress. Because there's multiple empires, right? So that meant that wherever you went, certain women ruled with a different iron fist. So as we go with the pimps up and hoes down, we see they had a problem when eventually the black man had white women as pimps. That's usually when a lot of their problems would start. And so once again, this it shows us the pimp culture has been around for a long time, and it links to the word Mac and a Moor, to when the so-called Moor, uh, and then so that was our downfall basically.
Now
Our
ask yourself, who's the Mac?
There you go. So some would say that the downfall was when the Moors had babies and created a Drake. You're half Moor, half troglodyte.
Demigod.
There you go. So they're able to do half of what we do. That will be like the elves when the angels had sex with the humans and they created mighty men, men of renown. But when you're a god, we can do higher things than any other human. But until they have one drop of the god blood, they can't perform at our level because they're not a Neteru. They're not connected to nature. But with that one drop, they have access to the Akashic records, even if it's just one channel. Like you can go to 99.1, Power 106, Kiss FM, or channel 2, channel 3, channel 4. Let's say they can only stay on channel 2. They're stuck on channel 2 unless you show them that there's a channel 7, channel 11, channel 13. Unless you show them how to dance, how to rap, how to cook, how to grow, because you have a connection with Ra, the sun. And the closer you are to Ra and the water, right, you're able to charge up and get the knowledge. This is why they put us in the inner cities. This is why they created the dams. This drives us crazy as the true amphibious, true reptilians. That's why we get ashy, because they dehydrate us and give us liquor. But basically, they had to demonize the so-called Moor who gave civilization to the so-called troglodyte white woman, giving her civilization, and they replaced them with the magic Don Juans and the Max and the Willie Dynamite to put basically this ideology of what we now deal with of a Snoop Dogg, bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. Now it's okay to be a single mother. Now it's okay to be a prostitute. So now it's okay not to have a father. Now it's okay not to have a wife or a nation. And that's when it leads to, that this is the final call. This is it. So instead of these guys from Abercrombie and Fitch, who were trafficking men and trafficking children all over the world, they have the P. Diddy's. And so once again, y'all, the tunnels do exist all throughout every city in America. And this is how they also traffic, because they don't talk about the containers that they found after Kendrick Lamar and all that. They stopped talking about those containers that they found, but it's real. So look at these pictures, like the movie with Jamie Foxx, where they showed you that these houses in the inner city go down into the ground. And so this is where a lot of the kidnapped kids go. I have friends who in Riverside whose brothers were kidnapped in the apartments and stuff. That's because in these apartments there's trap doors in all these neighborhoods. And this is why you have to be careful where your kids are, because once again, the Disney film Peter Pan is showing you that they kidnap kids. And so without getting into detail, I want people to study Peter Pan and the Lost Boys and watch the new movie Alien Earth, because to me, it all links up to farming humans for meat. And that's where we're at. We've been getting fed meat, and that's why people are going crazy. That's why certain cultures only eat kosher. Out here, they said the healthiest people in America are in Loma Linda because they're Seventh-day Adventists. So now this is why it's imperative to leave these cities. And that's right here where they're showing you that these humans being abducted are being eaten. They're not just missing for nothing. They're going in underground cities so they can continue life and continue inventions to learn things from us, and then eat us, create stem cells to create offshoot civilizations. Because once you learn that it's not just these 7 continents, that there's other land masses, and that's why they created the Navy, you'll understand why they have to harvest us as Martians. Because for me, the word Mars is MERS, and that's why in the movie Total Recall, the Martian was a Mer. He was a brother. So that meant that we were already on Mars. And so possibly these are our avatars, and us as infinite conscious beings were already able to put our consciousness into these bodies and experience a video game with infinite possibilities where you can plug in and out and go to different matrices like they call planets. But if they can make you believe that you die, they can trap you here in the video game and harness your energy and trap you here on the lower frequency. And if you have to come back, that's when you'll be enslaved. You'll probably be on headsets, trapped in a room, and you won't have your knowledge. And that's what the movie Get Out is about. We are in the movie Get Out, y'all. Every city in America is the movie Get Out. The foods they give us is poison. They gave us a God to believe in that's not real. The Bible God that creates a fictitious world that doesn't exist outside of the parameters of the city.
So look, what you just said about the Get Out. So remembering Get Out, there were people there that appeared like us already, right? They had already been programmed, had already had their body took over. So that's what this comes full circle in the conversation. That's what the gangs are. These are the people who already there, already brainwashed, and they're you get what I'm trying to say? Like they're not even talking like themselves. They're fully enactment. Because when you describe the dark ages, right, of the European, you know all I heard? Figueroa. That sounds exactly like the people living on Figueroa. The foul nastiness, the underage, the dirtiness, the not bathing, all of that, right? So what happened is now that we say move away, get out, right? Get out of the hood, right? Don't forget and get out. There was people there already.
Yeah.
You better get us out of here. They got me already, right? So
message.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, but the sad part about it is we have been there so long, we've become the white girl recruiter now.
Wow. Talk about it, brother. I'm listening.
Right? This goes back to the programming, because here's the thing. Here's the sad part about all those movies and all that. We know that the companies put them out there. We know the white man know it. But let me tell you something about this white dude that we have to admit. He's not creative. What he does is he exploits. He takes something that's there already. So this was in our hoods already. That's why I asked y'all about the Mac. We all admit it was there already for 20, 30 years. But he said, what if I just take this and just, how about I get a real pimp and just take him and just put him, then I take him and put him with Snoop and and remix it, right? So it was sold as this cool thing now because, and I'm going somewhere with this, because in all these areas, the reason why it's permitted, but all the stores and the houses and the hotels are not owned by the black brothers and sisters that's there, but they're letting it happen. They wouldn't let it happen to their sisters and brothers. Why are they letting it happen? Well, what's happening? Let's describe what's happening. Let me give you on the screen real quick. You got the other races rolling up, buying the women, and then you got them, like you just said, getting kidnapped. It's a cherry picking. It's a cherry picking farm. Roll up. You can grab one if you want. You can have sex with one if you want. They boyfriend don't want nothing but $100. Shit, you can get it. You can have what you want. Nigga, we on a plantation here. The problem is the movies got us thinking the plantation was a bunch of dry lip niggas on chains going, It was pimps there. Yes, it was. It was niggas there on the plantation where the white boys show up and say, yeah, you can have Sarah and this, that. There was bucks there and all that. You feel what I'm saying? There was Moors there. Like you said. And let's go back to that too. Because this is what I found interesting. Why is it? This is why the word pimping is not used for the Moors, what they did. You know why? Because why is it what they did never turned their kingdoms into Figueroa? Where's all the hoes? So this self-destruction thing is now, it can't be hidden anymore. Because if you go back, and I challenge y'all, go back and find like a 30. I got one, maybe we can put the link in the thing. But there's certain videos where they're actually reading the indictment. Bro, these stories are crazy. It's beyond the pimping. What these dudes are doing to these kids, you can tell they can't do that to the grown ones. So now they got somebody they can really pick on and show their real sickness. And the fact they even got that inside them shows a real big problem in our community, how godless we done got. Right? It's crazy what they doing to these 14, 15-year-olds for fun. You know what I'm saying? They've even went so crazy, a lot of this stuff is on video. They recorded a lot of this stuff, like R. Kelly. Like,
did you take it? Oh, no, go ahead.
Think about R. Kelly.
Diddy, like you said, Diddy and them had
how many people in the hood, when R. Kelly videos came out, how many people in the hood was bootlegging them and watching them and passing them around?
Right.
I'm going to talk about that, though.
No, go ahead, brother.
No, I was saying, how when R. Kelly video came out, how many people in the ghetto was bootlegging it, passing it around, watching it freely? This is a 14-year-old girl with a grown man. So this problem been going on, and now the exploitation, the craziness of it. And the sad part is, this is at the same time you got Epstein and all of that going on. They're going to overshadow that. But so what? You know what I mean? That's the problem. A lot of brothers say, well, look what they doing. Nah, motherfucker, this shit's going too far. And then you're doing it publicly and bragging about it and putting it on TV and Instagram and shit. I never saw Epstein with a bunch of young girls on Instagram. We're telling on ourselves, we're celebrating this shit. We're going way too far with it.
So what do you feel as a solution? Line. So
it has to be a whole culture shift. It's like locking them up is one thing, but why? The question is, why did they mamas and all that go for this in the first place? You see what I'm saying? It got to be a whole culture shift. It really, the answer is what you just showed. Get out. Get out. Because them same, because me and you got cousins, brothers and sisters. Hey, them same people, they act different when they move, huh? you put them in a different environment, they act different. Now, some of them have real sicknesses. Maybe they go to another area and be pimping them there. But all I'm saying is, what we're seeing even with that is a lot of that stuff is starting to fall apart and destroy itself. But we can't support it no longer.
Definitely not, brother.
I think the answer is just really because them same dudes are violent. The same dudes on Fig, on Western, on Sepulveda, they're violent. But they're not violent to protect nothing.
Mm-hmm. So
if for some reason they look at the other races and they don't feel no way, they're like, oh, here. It's like, you don't think these dudes is laughing at us, homie?
Yeah, because now it's just like the black gangs are basically terrorist groups. Would you call that a true statement?
Yeah, we was labeled terrorist groups a while ago. Mm-hmm. Domestic terrorists.
So that's what the world is. And when you watch the movie Escape from LA, that's what it was, because that's what women will be going to. If there's ever a big quake and a currency, that's the new thing for women to.
It's Clone Tyrone, man. Remember Clone Tyrone? They made it more like a movie. You know, it's a bunch of him. But if you think about it, when you see your friend Tommy who drew paint, and your other friend Bobby who played the guitar, and your other friend, Leon that played football, they all go to prison. They come out the same guy. Am I lying? They look the goddamn same tattoos, talking the same bullshit, going through the same bullshit. It's the cloning process, bro. You feel me? And that's what they're spitting out. And a lot of us, we not in tune with it. That's why my message is very important, because it's so foul. A lot of us are like, oh yeah, I'm not even going around no shit like that. Even I'm like that. You know what I mean? I just know about it just from my exposure, when I fresh out and all of that. But no, I've been knew about this. That's the sad part. It's deep, bro. It's deep.
And so as we start closing it out, you said you wanted to say something about the Moors. Do you want me to pop up that picture? When it came to the Moors and the difference between shipping white women or pale-skinned European women around compared to
All right, go
modern day.
back to American Pimp then.
Okay.
So this is, and maybe you agree, maybe you don't. This is what I feel the problem is when we mix the timeline. I'm not saying it's not good to talk about the Moors and all that, but this is what I see more. I see some white devils studying the Moors and how they dress and how they move, and even the fact they had white slavery and using that to manipulate us. You get what I'm saying? Because what these movies sold is not what we saw our ancestors doing. What these movies sold is some shit that got our own people killing each other and got their hoods looking like, you know what I mean, dilapidated, you know what I mean, trash towns. So what I see is more COINTELPRO. What does COINTELPRO mean? Counter intelligence. Counterintelligence, when I study your intelligence and make a technology version so I can corrupt it. You feel me? So to me, it looks like they studied the culture of the black man and the black Moor and how he dressed and the diamonds and all of that. And don't get me wrong, things that they actually were going on. Pimping, white slavery, all of that. But I remember when I read the Iceberg Slim book, he said they was coming from out of slavery and sharecropping and going to the north in the Midwest and selling to white women. Because they said the white women was obsessed with them when they would come up there from the South. You feel me?
It's like the Moors. They said that they would beg the Moors to take them. It wasn't.
This whole thing with the black woman, what we see today with us selling our own people, is is slavery. Stories you hear described that the white man rolls up and takes your wife down or your woman, you know what I mean? And then they might, well, at least I got something. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where that came from. So what I'm saying is basically, bro, they mastered their COINTEL programming so good that they're selling it as if it's the Moorish white slavery, come get down. But when you look behind the scene, what is it?
Well,
Because
to me,
even the top pimp dude that pimps the white girls, his daughters usually become hoes.
wow.
His daughters usually become black hoes. So it's like the cycle is never ending, man.
Well, this is why it's all about protecting your bloodline. When we have our land, and let's say, example, I have a daughter, and Crip Jesus has a son, and there's multiple brothers and families on the land. You're able to decide, okay, we're going to mix in with this family because they run this business. We do this. I get along with his father. My wife gets along. Whoop-de-whoop. And so when Lana was asking about the polygamy, for me, he understood when he destroyed the so-called black man or the Moor having multiple women and multiple wives legally, because clearly people practice multiple partners, what they call cheating, which is a fake psychological psyop. So basically, naturally, like Robert De Niro, he's 82 years old having a child. And so when we have a system set up like the term, it takes a village to raise a child, and your son or daughter can go outside freely without being kidnapped, and the next door neighbor is a farmer, this neighbor is a doctor, lawyer, military. You're not worried about who your child is being raised by, because the whole village is gods and goddesses. That's the whole point of having multiple wives, is because it's business, it's wealth. There's no single mother. There's no single woman. That doesn't exist. So instead of a single mother being out on the streets trying to raise kids by herself, she has a God who has vision, and she can help him create the family business so her offspring can have wealth for generations to come. And that's the whole point of having multiple wives when you look at it as a business empire, nation building, instead of what they call F-boy stuff. It's all about family, royalty, nobility, bloodlines. But eventually, like movies like Coming to America made it seem when like she was like, woof, woof, bark like a dog. And they made it seem as if a woman married into royalty, you were going to treat this woman like crap. If you laid your hand on a so-called Moorish woman back in the day, it was off with your head. You couldn't pimp a black woman back in the day. It was off with your head. Even hitting black women back in the day, that was a pimp thing. That was new. So that guy, and then the Tyler Perry movies and all that trauma stuff, that's another topic. But the American pimp, so the so-called troglodyte, the so-called white man today, he is the pimp. He has multiple wives to the point he has Playboy magazine. He has the American beauty pageant. He has OnlyFans. He has YouTube. He has Craigslist. He has all these porn industries. He has all these TV shows to where sexuality. So he demonizes us because when we have ourselves in order, and a woman chooses, like they would say, the pimp, oh, she chose me. When a woman chooses to be with a god, and she says, okay, let's bring this woman in to help our family, tribe, or our tribe and our nation, that makes sense. So your husband isn't running around here like his goose left off, like these 6-year-old, 80-year-old men who still want to have and naturally want to have and need to have sex. And that's why a lot of black men die of prostate cancer, because they're not having enough sex. Because when certain women get to a certain age and handling business and stuff, her sex drive may be different than that man, because we're a different type of species as well. And that's when it comes into us learning about us being gods and goddesses. Like Lana studies the organs, the anatomy, to where we teach ourselves that we are different. The sexual drive, but even women will say, well, shit, a woman's drive gets longer when she's eating correctly. And so that's when the man can dick her down still. So when we look at it as when they showed you the pharaoh, they say, oh, the mistress. No, that's why they show you the so-called white man in the movies was fucking the secretary and all this stuff when his wife wasn't trying to handle the business. But now they try to make it to where, oh, you can't do business with your family as black people, because the other so-called races, their nobility and their power, when you look at it, is always a family business. And so in order to restart that, you as a god, you have to restart your family with one. If this one is enough, that's great. One woman can be sufficient to run your universe. But when it comes to really building and stuff, you'd rather have multiple women who love you, because from my experience, a woman who really loves you and wants you to win is more powerful than your homie who wants you to win. You can't fuck your homie, but you can have sex with your wives, and that's what they do in Hollywood. They fuck their homies. And so that they'll give them a movie role, they'll give them a record deal, they'll give them a political power, they'll give them a grant, they'll give them a loan to keep that reality going. And so the Aquarius age, the flooding is going to come in California. The new age, all the earthquakes, but we will be protected because all of this is for our empire, the Moorish empire, to rise. And that's what the next episodes will be on. It'll be on how the Moorish culture isn't just in Africa, that it's a worldwide education system. And I can show you pictures of me in Kemet, Tamaray, Egypt, in what we call today Africa, or Alki-Bulan, and then Tamaray of the West. And that's what we're building out here. We're building Ta-Mary of the West, which was already built out here in Riverside County. And so Crib Jesus said to save it for another episode. So we'll save it. But basically, out here in Southern California, the Europeans would come out here to Riverside to bathe and drink the waters to heal themselves. And so that means that we can live for 100, 200, 300 years and longer. And this is what we're doing. And this is why we're having these conversations, to take our people out of the dark ages, to give you an option for people to know that there's a brother named Jason saying July, August, September, October, November, I'm getting these uploads. And to me, I've been here before. They scrambled the maps. They flooded the towns. But all that's going to be shifted. So now it's just you prepared, because when the mothership arrives, your reality is going to be locked in. And so for whatever you know is going to be that. But if you're living in the matrix and allowing them to dictate your reality, you're going to be trapped in that false reality that they've already designed for you. You are an infinite being. This shell that you have with all this melanin is your spacesuit. And that pineal gland, the pi, is that infinite number, the pi, that glyph that they show you, where the pi, you as an infinite pineal, an infinite mathematical code, kneels as an L, pineal. They put it in codes. And that's why they're teaching you about the ice wall. The ice wall is your pineal gland that I teach, that a lot of brothers steal my style. So there's only one Jason. There's other people are copycats. The sons of Haru, the gods, Quetzalcoatl, it's our turn. It's Southern California's turn. We are the ones who had that sun shining down on us so much. This is the empire of Khalifa. We are the Khalifas, the so-called Black Indians returning to the motherland, our home, which is Mexico, that recently was changed in the Spanish-Indian War and the Mexican and American War, the Mexican-U.S. War. And they changed the names. So basically, that's why the Bay Area had the pimping, because the Macs were up there. And same thing that Crip Jesus was saying. Even today, when the black man is on the college campus around the white girls, and he's the man, the white girls flock to him. And the black girls, the majority of them are on bullshit. Or they're trying to be like the white girls, but the white girls join sororities and practice witchcraft, and they learn that the so-called black girl is her mother, and she has to keep her ignorant. Same thing goes as the so-called black dudes. If you're a black superstar on campus, you either don't have to join a fraternity because you're introduced to a reality that a normal black person will never go to unless they're an entertainer, or you join a fraternity, which is Greek, and sometimes the white boys will let a black person in and tell you the game, which some of us were allowed to enter. So there's different worlds going on, and only certain gods can control that, which is brothers such as myself and brothers like Crip Jesus. Crip Jesus is coming from the horse's mouth. So now we're talking about the Olympics. That links up to Nipsey Hussle. That links up to the Big U. That links up to the Hoover Dam, the FBI, COINTELPRO, gangs being called Hoover, streets being called Hoover, all preparing for the robot takeover, y'all. They just had the robot Olympics in China. So, and then we're going to talk about all sorts of crazy cool stuff. But did you guys want to end it on anything as we close it out?
No, that's A1. Just tap in with me, Crip Jesus, the blue guy, the true guy, author of the Blue Bible, BlackIlluminati.com. Thanks y'all for having me.
Always. And Lana, did you want to leave us with something? She's out. And last, leave us, like you said, leave us with a solution, Crip Jesus, for those who might say, well, what is the purpose of What is the Matrix and your podcast? We were saying we're not blaming so-called the white man anymore. So what are the solutions that we need to come up out this as a people while others may be left behind? What do you see?
Yeah, this one ain't deep. This one is just going too far. This is just too far. It's not even deep. When you see it, hop on it. Whatever you got to do. For some people that may be hurting somebody, for some people that may be calling the police, I don't know, but I know this is too far. I don't even think this is one that needs to be explained. This is one of the ones where even if you're a little kid, you know something wrong. You just accepting it. You know what I'm saying? It's just weakness. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. So as always, we leave you with the virtual reality world we have. Crip Jesus is gonna it might be in 2026, we'll see. But basically we have a virtual reality VR chat world, and we're gonna have a concert with Crip Jesus where you can come talk to him. He's gonna play his music, he can answer your interview questions, and we can always talk about monetizing you as an artist if you're listening. He's a professor as well at the Matrix University. So when we show you these virtual reality models, these are what you can do on your laptop and eventually your phone. So when we have these conversations, it's basically solutions so we aren't left behind in the technology world or the technology race. So just like they say, techohedron, dodecohedron, or tech. Let's call on the tech goddesses, the tech gods, and start coming up with solutions to bring in wealth to our nation, to our empire. Let's start working on opening up our brick and mortars and universities out here on the West Coast. So I own a 501c3 nonprofit tax exempt organization. You can donate to us. And so we're working on our land. We have a Black Indian reservation. Me and Crip Jesus are going to be speaking in soon. So once again, come check us out. And this is some of our technology.
Niggas kings, captain of my team. Life is just a dream, life ain't what it seems. You're just a player in the game if you don't own the league. Hop on the magic carpet, fly with me to a whole new world that they call Elm Street. Stay away from haters, stay away from buses, because in Never Land ain't no room for these suckers. Stay away from haters, stay away from buses, because in Never Land ain't no room for these suckers. They say a nigga.
Then this right here. So this is the virtual reality. This is the virtual reality world that we have, where you can plug in VR headsets. We can have discussions like we have here on StreamYard. And then this is one of our 3D models. Welcome to the Matrix University Sun and Moon Pyramid of Mexico, where you can create your own lesson plans and bring in whatever you like. So, for example, if you want to bring in a bear at the pyramids, you can do that. Ask, what was the culture of the Olmecs? What was the culture of the Mayans? What is the connection between ancient Egypt and the Mexican pyramids? So we just threw in some of the Amen pharaohs and dynasties, and looking at the different headdresses that we also find in Egypt. And so it's very interesting when we go over here and we find out that Anubis, the hairless black dog, is originally found. So yeah, I'll end it with that.
I'm gonna show you proof that melanated beings were advanced civilizations of sea mariners. Our armies were on the sea. We had marines, navies, long before the military of the United States. Right here. I'm not sure.
Telling the story that they want people to know, and we're going to learn a lot more about these a little bit later. But just stop and take a look at what the tombs actually look like.